Structuring salary is an inevitable task for every HR and payroll professional. What an employee gets at the end of the day is net salary after deductions from the gross salary. Hello everyone, I am Dr. Vijay. We'll discuss about salary structure in India. Sometimes it's also referred as compensation structure. After taking this lecture, you will be able to identify and describe the main components of the salary, and you can also be able to calculate the net salary. Pay structure or compensation to employees depends on many factors. Pay structure usually consists of certain grades, scales, and pay range. CTC, that is cost to company, is a common used term. CTC includes all monetary and non-monetary benefits that a company absorbs to facilitate continuation of an employee. The salary has two broad categories of components, namely gross salary or gross pay and the deductions. To calculate gross salary, we need to add all components of gross salary like basic salary and dearness allowance, HRA, LTA, etc. Alright. To get the deductions, we need to add the amount contributed to the provident fund of the employee or toward ESIC or other taxes. When we reduce the total amount of deductions from the gross salary, we get the net salary. Alright, let's understand these components one by one. First, let's take the gross salary component. Basic salary is the largest component of the CTC, that's cost to company, making up to 40 to 45% of the total CTC. The basic salary plays an important role in defining the salary, as other components like PF or Provident Fund, gratuity and ESIC are dependent on it. Dearness allowance was introduced as a part of salary as a means to reduce the burden of inflation on salaried employees. This amount is usually set to about 5% of the total CTC. The companies and government keeps on increasing the DA to offset the inflation in the economy. And like the basic salary component, it also has an impact on PF, ESIC, etc. Alright? The component of salary is fully taxable as on date. The house rent allowance or HRA, as the name suggests, is a component that employees can leverage if they are living in rented accommodations. The amount that can claim as that you can claim as tax deduction under HRA cannot be more than 50% of your basic salary in a metropolitan city or 40% of your basic salary in a non-metropolitan city. Alright? Hence, depending on where your workplace is located, this salary component will usually be set at 40% or 50% of the basic salary. However, for government employee, it is set as 24% of metropolitan city, 24% for metropolitan city or grade A cities like Delhi, 16% for sub-metropolitan cities or grade B cities, and 8% for urban or grade C cities as of now. Alright. Leave travel allowance or LTA remunerates employees for their travel within the country. This component is widely used by employers due to the tax benefits associated with it. An employee can claim tax benefit for the fare expenses paid for his or her family when they take a holiday. However, there are certain restrictions to which you can claim as tax benefit. Now, please understand that where are the restrictions and how you can claim the tax benefit under this category. The first is only, please take a note that only the travel fare expenses can be claimed for tax benefits. Stay in hotel or anywhere or any lounge and food on your trip, they are not covered under the tax benefit. You need to pay tax on that. Travel must be within India. If you travel to foreign country, the expenses aren't tax deductible. Immediate families that are dependent on the employees are covered under LTA. Okay, and it is usually offered once in 4 years to most of the state and center employees. However, it depends on policy of a department or a company. All right. Travel or convenience allowance and medical allowance or traveling allowance is paid by the employer as a part of their salary over and above your basic salary to help you meet the expenses for you commute to work and back. All right. So these are the travel expenses that the company pays to you. However, the medical allowances is the reimbursement to the employees for his or her family and the dependents. Okay. However, with the introduction of the standard deduction, exemption on travel or convenience allowance and medical allowance has been removed from April 2018. Okay. Please understand that when the Indian government has introduced the standard deduction, we'll understand about the standard deduction also. The time they have introduced the standard deduction in April 2018, the exemption on travel and medical allowance has been removed. Basically to say, earlier the travel amount that's being paid to the employee and the medical allowances that's being paid to the employee are tax exempted. But after April 2018, when the standard deductions are introduced, they become taxable. Okay, now understand this completely. Please understand this. Standard deduction is a specific amount for which he gets a tax rebate. In the year 2020, rupees 40,000 per year is the standard deduction. Okay. Basically to say, an employee can take a lump sum tax rebate of rupees 40,000 on his gross salary if he is taking travel and medical allowances in his salary. Alright. So basically what the government did is they have combined the two categories and has put a slab of 40,000 rupees, and they said whether you are getting lesser than 40,000 rupees or if you are getting more than 40,000 rupees, only 40,000 tax rebate will be given to you. Okay, straight away. That's why this is called a standard deduction. All right. Then we have children education allowance. This component is remuneration towards tuition fees of employees' children, and a tax deductible up to rupees 100 every month for a maximum of 2 children. Hence, this amount is usually set to not more than rupees 2,400 a year for an employee for 2 children. Got the idea? 100 rupees per children, that is 1,200 rupees in a year. 2,400 rupees for 2 children, and the rebate for maximum of 2 children is provided by the government. Along with this, you can claim deductions of fees paid for your children's under Section 80C. Similarly, any hostel allowance that you receive from your employer is tax exempted to the extent of rupees 300 per month or rupees 3,600 for a year for 1 child and rupees 7,200 for maximum of 2 children. Fine, clear with the child education allowances and the rebate that you could have in it. Let's say you are getting 2,000 rupees per month for the tuition fees of your child. So only rupees 100 per month will be taken for the tax rebate. Rest of the amount will be considered in your gross salary and becomes the part of taxable income. All right. Then we have the special allowances, and these are meant to balance, or they act as a balancing component of the salary structure. It is usually used by organization as the leftover of the CTC, where the rest of the components have been paid out. This component is fully taxable and also taken into account for the calculation of the provident fund. All allowances which an employee gets which do not fall under any other category are taxable. Okay. Then we have the deductions. Deductions are elements of the salary that are part of CTC but are deducted from the gross salary to reach cash in hand or net salary. Let's take a deeper look at some of the most common salary deductions and what they mean. At present, Provident Fund or PF, it is also called as Employee Provident Fund, that is EPF, is calculated at 12% of basic plus DA plus special allowance. So what we'll do is we'll take the basic of the individual, we'll add DA into it, we'll add special allowances if any into it, and we'll calculate 12% of that will be contributed or will be paid or will be submitted under the EPF or the PF account of the employee. The employer and the employee both make an equal contribution of 12% each. 12% will be deducted from the employee's salary and 12% will also be paid by the employer. This is applicable to companies who have 20 or more employees on their payroll. These days, some companies or government department deduct CPF instead of PF. The basic difference between the CPF and PF is like that. PF is a social security tool for salaried people of India. In the PF program, an employee can contribute 12% or more of his salary, while in the CPF program, an employee can contribute between 10 to 20% of his salary depending on department policy. Alright, deductions through ESIC are mandatory for employees whose gross salary is not more than 21,000 rupees. It is only applicable in companies where there are 20 or more employees within the rupees 21,000 gross salary bracket, rupees 21,000. Employees have to make a contribution of 1.75% of their gross salary, and the employer have to make a contribution of 4.75% of the gross salary. All right. Then we have professional tax. It is the tax levied by government of certain states on salaried employees. As on date, professional tax is applicable in Karnataka, Bihar, West Bengal, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Maharashtra, etc. The amount of professional tax that is being deducted varies from state to state where they are applicable. Labor Welfare Fund is a statutory contribution managed by individual state authorities. It is an aid in the form of money or necessities for those in need. It provides facilities to laborers in order to improve their working condition, provide them social security, and raise their standard of living. So the Labor Welfare Fund is working for the three basic purposes: improve their working condition, provide social security, and raise their standard of living. This act has been implemented only in 16 states out of 37 states, including Union Territory. The Labor Welfare Fund is not applicable to all categories of employees working in the establishments. It depends upon the wages earned and the designation of the employee who will fall under this category. All right. Also, one needs to check the total number of employees working before extending this act to their establishment. Labor welfare funds are deducted from the firms where Labor Welfare Act is applicable. Both employees and employers need to make contributions. All right. In this, the employer pays approximately twice the employee's contribution, the Labor Welfare Fund. All right. Apart from this, there may be more elements that we have discussed right now in the gross salary and also on the side of deductions, depending on the center or state policy and also as per the policy of different organizations. Like in Haryana, 4% education cess is also charged or is applicable on the taxable income of the employees. Now you are aware about the different components of the salary or compensation for an employee. Hope you can easily calculate the net salary of an employee. Please feel free to give a feedback. Thanks for patience learning. Thank you.